Number 9. The captain's singing was a secret. Audiences watching Captain Von Trapp perform Edelweiss see a powerful emotional moment. Christopher Plummer's face conveys deep feeling as he sings a quiet farewell to his homeland. What most viewers never realized for years was that the voice they heard did not entirely belong to him. The decision to dub Plummer's singing was made during post-production. While Plummer was a capable vocalist, the studio felt his voice did not match the specific musical quality they wanted for the character. Singer Bill Lee provided the vocals that would be carefully synchronized with Plummer's on-screen performance. The blending was seamless enough that audiences never questioned it. Plummer reportedly felt frustrated by the dubbing decision, having prepared and performed the songs himself during filming. Learning that his voice would be replaced stung professionally. He was not alone in this experience, as Hollywood frequently dubbed actors during the golden age of musicals, but that knowledge offered little comfort. For decades, the dubbing remained relatively unknown to general audiences, who simply accepted the emotional performance at face value. The illusion worked perfectly, even if it left the actor himself feeling somewhat diminished by the final result. Number 10. School didn't stop for the kids. Child labor laws required that young performers continue their education regardless of filming demands. For the 7 actors playing the Von Trapp children, this meant juggling schoolwork alongside one of the most demanding productions of the era. Their days were split between cameras and classrooms in ways that tested everyone's patience. Tutors worked on set throughout production, pulling children aside between takes for lessons. Math problems followed musical numbers. History discussions happened in costume. The unusual routine created challenges for maintaining focus, as young minds had to switch constantly between performance mode and academic concentration. Some children adapted better than others. Despite the difficulties, the shared experience of on-set schooling created unique bonds among the young cast. They studied together, struggled together, and found ways to make the strange situation work. The discipline required to balance both worlds may have actually strengthened their performances, forcing them to develop focus and professionalism beyond their years. When cameras rolled, they delivered. When tutors called, they learned. The resulting film captured performances from children who were working twice as hard as audiences ever knew. Number 11. 2 songs the movie refused to sing. Adapting a Broadway hit for Hollywood often means making difficult choices about what to keep and what to leave behind. The stage version of the musical contained songs that worked beautifully in a theater, but posed problems for a cinematic adaptation. Before cameras ever rolled, the decision was made to cut 2 numbers entirely from the film version. How Can Love Survive and No Way to Stop It both appeared in the original Broadway production but never made it into the screenplay. The first was a comedic duet questioning whether wealthy people could maintain romance, while the second featured cynical political commentary from characters surrounding the captain. Both songs served their theatrical purpose, but threatened to slow the film's pacing and shift focus away from Maria's central journey. Removing these numbers allowed the movie to streamline its storytelling and maintain emotional momentum. The cuts also softened certain characters, particularly the Baroness and Max, who came across as more sympathetic without their cynical musical moments. Screen time freed by these deletions went toward visual storytelling that cinema handles better than stage productions ever could. Audiences who only know the film version have no idea these songs existed, yet their absence shaped the experience in ways that helped make the movie feel tighter, warmer, and more focused on the romance and family dynamics that audiences ultimately fell in love with. Number 12. The real Maria hid in plain sight. Hidden within the film is a blink-and-you-miss-it connection to the true story that inspired everything. The real Maria Von Trapp, whose memoir launched the stage musical and eventually the movie, actually appears on screen. Most viewers have watched the film dozens of times without ever spotting her. The cameo occurs during the I Have Confidence sequence as Maria walks through Salzburg on her way to the Von Trapp villa. Among the background figures, the real Maria passes briefly through the frame, an elderly woman walking in the opposite direction. No attention is drawn to her presence, and nothing distinguishes her from any other extra populating the Austrian streets. This quiet appearance serves as a bridge between Hollywood fantasy and historical reality. The woman whose life inspired the story literally crossed paths with the actress portraying her younger self. It was a touching gesture arranged by the production, honoring the source while keeping the focus on the cinematic version of events. For those who know where to look, the cameo adds a layer of poignancy to an already emotional sequence, connecting the fictional Maria to the real woman who lived through experiences far more complicated than any film could fully capture. Number 14. Salzburg fought the Nazi flags. Filming in Austria presented unique challenges that went beyond weather and logistics. When production required Nazi flags and imagery for key scenes, local authorities pushed back strongly. The wounds of World War II remained fresh, and displaying swastikas on the streets of Salzburg stirred deep discomfort among residents and officials alike. Negotiations between the production team and Austrian authorities proved delicate. Less than 20 years had passed since the war's end, and many locals had personal memories of the occupation. Seeing Nazi symbols flying again, even for a movie condemning fascism, triggered emotions that Hollywood executives, thousands of miles away, could not fully appreciate. Some locations refused participation entirely. Compromise eventually allowed filming to proceed. The production limited the visibility of Nazi imagery where possible and worked quickly during scenes requiring it. Local cooperation came grudgingly with the understanding that the film portrayed resistance against tyranny rather than glorifying it. The sensitivity shown during these negotiations reflected a production team aware that they were telling a story still painful for those who lived through it. The final film handles the Nazi presence with restraint, a choice shaped partly by the real-world tensions encountered on Austrian soil. Number 15. Maria's hair nearly ruined day one. Just before cameras were set to roll, a beauty emergency threatened to delay the entire production. Julie Andrews arrived for preparation only to discover that a hair treatment had gone terribly wrong. The dye intended to perfect her look had turned her hair an alarming shade of orange that was completely unusable on screen. Panic spread through the hair and makeup department. The shooting schedule was locked, sets were ready, and costs for any delay would be substantial. Frantic calls went out to find solutions while Andrews sat in a chair, her orange hair a disaster, waiting to derail everything before a single scene was filmed. The pressure on the styling team was immense. Emergency color correction followed, requiring careful work to neutralize the orange tones without causing further damage. The team labored intensely, testing and adjusting until Andrews' hair reached an acceptable shade for filming. By the time she stepped on set, no evidence of the crisis remained. Audiences watching the finished film see only Maria's perfect appearance, never suspecting that hours before certain shots, professionals were scrambling to fix a mistake that nearly made the iconic look impossible. The near disaster became another secret buried beneath the flawless surface. Number 16. 2 songs were film-only additions. The original Broadway production established a beloved score that audiences already knew by heart. When Hollywood adapted the stage musical, the creative team faced a decision about whether to simply recreate what worked on stage or add something new. They chose to expand the song catalog, commissioning 2 original numbers written specifically for the movie version. Rodgers and Hammerstein crafted I Have Confidence and Something Good exclusively for the movie. These additions were not merely padding to extend runtime, but carefully designed pieces that deepened character moments. I Have Confidence gave Maria an internal monologue during her journey to the villa, while Something Good provided an intimate duet between Maria and the captain that the stage version lacked. Both songs integrated so seamlessly that audiences unfamiliar with the Broadway show never suspected they were additions. They feel completely organic to the story, matching the tone and quality of the original score perfectly. This seamless blending represents a rare achievement in stage-to-screen adaptations, where added material often feels forced or unnecessary. Instead, these film-only compositions became essential parts of the experience, proving that the right creative additions can enhance rather than dilute a beloved property. Number 12. The real Maria hid in plain sight. Hidden within the film is a blink-and-you-miss-it connection to the true story that inspired everything. The real Maria von Trapp, whose memoir launched the stage musical and eventually the movie, actually appears on screen. Most viewers have watched the film dozens of times without ever spotting her. The cameo occurs during the I Have Confidence sequence, as Maria walks through Salzburg on her way to the Von Trapp villa. Among the background figures, the real Maria passes briefly through the frame, an elderly woman walking in the opposite direction. No attention is drawn to her presence, and nothing distinguishes her from any other extra populating the Austrian streets. This quiet appearance serves as a bridge between Hollywood fantasy and historical reality. The woman whose life inspired the story literally crossed paths with the actress portraying her younger self. It was a touching gesture arranged by the production, honoring the source while keeping the focus on the cinematic version of events. For those who know where to look, the cameo adds a layer of poignancy to an already emotional sequence.